Warriors drop game 2, and this series is tied 1 game apiece. But that is not the only piece of news that is not good for Warriors fans. No, we have a double dose of bad news as the Warriors have an injury now on the roster, and it's a very, very significant one as Jimmy Butler left this game in the first quarter and did not return. It's being called a pelvic contusion, and I understand that Warriors fans are very familiar with pelvic contusions as we've covered them on this channel multiple times this season with Steph and Jonathan Kuminga both suffering a similar injury. Now, Jimmy falls flat on his back and out of the Warriors lineup for the remainder of Game 2. He didn't get anything going because he was not really able to get anything going in this game. It was very early on, and Jimmy had been chasing down a rebound, and Amen Thompson people had said gets shoved by Draymond Green, except he was not. Amen Thompson just ends up losing his footing and barreling into Jimmy Butler's ankles, undercutting him. Jimmy falls directly on his tailbone, and he was down in pain for a good minute. Ended up getting free throws out of it as he was fouled. They called a foul on Thompson, and he went to the line and made 1 of 2, but ended up staying in the game and was in a lot of pain and ended up limping off of the floor. Steve Kerr had to get him out of there, and Anthony Slater said this. Got to show you guys a couple of tweets to give you a little bit of an insight as to what's going on with the Butler injury. He said Jimmy Butler just walked extremely gingerly back down the tunnel to the Warriors locker room after going to the x-ray room here in Houston's arena. Now, that x-ray did not reveal any structural damage for Jimmy. No major issues on this injury, but there is an MRI to be had. And Slater with this. MRI expected tomorrow, a.k.a. today when you're seeing this, so we'll give you guys an update when we hear it. But the Warriors have dealt with a couple of these pelvic contusions recently after similar falls from Curry and Kuminga. Curry missed 2 games. Kuminga missed 1. Then it became a pain management issue. Now, Curry doesn't seem to be totally affected by this injury, and it was suffered a while ago at this point, so he seems to be fine. Kuminga, on the other hand, he doesn't look fine out there on the basketball court. We'll talk about him in just a second, but I don't know if that's injury-related or not. Tim Kawakami said this, as the Warriors will be staying over in Houston tonight, is from an NBA source. Jimmy Butler and the plans for him are to get back to San Francisco in the Bay Area tonight to get an MRI tomorrow. And he said what I just repeated to you guys a couple of seconds ago. He said initial x-rays show no major damage, but the MRI will give more details. The MRI could show a little bit more of a specific look at what we have going on. They can point out the little details better than an x-ray could, obviously, so we got to wait on anything like that. But this Warriors team, I don't know how well it can survive without Jimmy Butler in the lineup. If they end up missing him for Game 3, then I think a lot of it is going to go how we saw Game 2 go, with the Warriors struggling to find any source of offense as far as individual creation goes. Like, they need Jimmy Butler out there on the floor to not only be somebody who they can look to in those situations, but also be the connector for everybody else to have an open and free game offensively. He is an irreplaceable member of this team. And when we saw his replacement see the floor for the first time in this series in Game 2, the product was not very pretty. And I'm talking about Jonathan Kuminga, who showed the world kind of the reasons why Steve Kerr was justified in benching him in Game 2. I mean, yeah, he had 11 points. Awesome. A couple of those came during garbage time when Golden State put in their last guys on the bench and kept Kuminga in the game. Listen, to be fair, it's unfair to ask for Jonathan Kuminga to be some Michael Jordan game-changer type of player. He's not going to be. Is he in a rhythm at all? No. Is his confidence up? No. But when he saw the floor tonight, he didn't show anybody that he should continue to be in this rotation, whether or not Jimmy's out there on the floor or not. Turnovers with the ball in his hands, missed bunnies at the rim, and that all has to do with confidence, I can imagine as well. Bad decisions overall, being really late to different closeouts, especially when the Rockets started to string together a couple of great offensive possessions in the second quarter or in the second half and start hitting some threes. Kuminga wasn't there, and I'm not confident in his future as a Golden State Warrior. I'm not confident in his future during this series against the Rockets. Golden State badly needs Jimmy Butler back in the lineup. And the bad news didn't stop there because we knew before the game that Brandin Podziemski had been dealing with some sickness that he has going on. And he didn't do anything tonight. Exited the game for a good bit, actually, as Anthony Slater gave us this little detail about Pods. That Brandin Podziemski, also in the locker room, is dealing with a stomach issue today. So he tried to do his best to come back in the game, but he clearly wasn't feeling it, clearly was not by any means comfortable playing out there. So we'll see what happens with these battered up Warriors. But I'll tell you what, they're going to need them back because not only is Jimmy the second most important player on this team, Brandin Podziemski is not far behind him in the pecking order for Golden State in the starting lineup. If you want the Warriors to get healthy and be healthy for Game 3 against the Rockets, just do one thing for me. Hit that thumbs up icon, like today's video, send the good vibes to the Dubs so they can be ready to roll for Game 3. Lucky to have a couple days off, in between. We'll talk more about Warriors-Rockets in Game 2 and what I need to see and what improvements I need to see from some players that are very high up on the pecking order for the Warriors. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to our sponsor on the video today, and that is PrizePicks. Want to win some real money in real time while watching your favorite sports? Well, then download PrizePicks today. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports platform because it's daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. All you guys got to do is pick a sport. Pick multiple sports if you want to. Basketball, hockey, baseball, esports, bowling, darts, golf. They have it all. Combine them in a lineup if you want to. And just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And you can watch the winnings roll in. I'm talking up to 2,000 times your money using PrizePicks. And they always try to make it easy for you guys. They're always hooking you guys up with incredible deals. So it's just like Taco Tuesday, where they discount stat projections. Or Flex Friday, where if you lose your lineup, they give it back to you in promo funds up to $20. And the little deal that we got for you guys here at Chat Sports, that promo code in the bottom right of your screen, CLNS, use it, and you get $50 instantly when you place your first $5 lineup. For tonight's action, I decided to go with Jimmy Butler more than 6.5 free throws made, Alperen Sengun more than 10.5 rebounds, Jabari Smith more than 10 points, and then Steph Curry more than 30.5 points of rebounds. You can tail my picks. You can fade my picks. Just make sure you go and do it at PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use the promo code CLNS for $50 instantly when you place the first $5 entry. You don't even need to win to receive the $50. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game. All that information is clickable down in the comments and description of today's video. Look, the Rockets did what they do, man, and they mucked up this game. Golden State didn't shoot poorly from three-point range, but at the end of the day, didn't shoot very well from the field as a whole. Held them to 41% shooting, and they were never comfortable in their half-court offense. And let's be honest, like Houston didn't shoot incredible in this game either, but they were definitely better than they were in Game 1. And that's a big part because of Jaylen Green and what he was able to do. And the Golden State let him get into a rhythm. He went off for 36 points in this game, and it kind of just felt like he was finally getting comfortable in this series. Jaylen Green is going to be a tough guard for Golden State moving forward. I mean, whether it was GP2, Buddy Hield, I mean, he would get switched on a Quentin Post, and it would be just barbecue chicken out there. He got whatever he wanted. He would make a crossover move, get downhill, and get to the rim very, very easily in this first half. And, then he got into a groove and started hitting step-back jumpers in the second half. So this is a player that you really have to be on if you're Golden State and make his life uncomfortable because he's had a history of bad games against the Dubs before. This was his best, his best outing against the Warriors in his entire career, and I don't need more outings like this during this playoff series because Golden State will lose. They don't have as much offensive firepower, and if they are missing Jimmy Butler, then they certainly can't allow this to happen for Jaylen Green. But I want to give a message to the Rockets here because clearly we know they play a physical brand of basketball. But then the Warriors start to kind of play that brand back at them. And they start whining when they don't get calls. I think that's utterly ridiculous, especially when they're holding Curry off of the ball, on the ball, fouling him, hacking him, does not matter. And that's their mantra. They're going to continue to do it. Ime Udoka before the series said their plan is to foul until the refs start calling it and then foul some more. Like it's really a loser brand of basketball when there's a clear skill gap between these two teams. And it just makes me sick, to be quite honest. And that's just a little message I had to get out about the Rockets. Quit complaining about the officiating when clearly the officiating is in favor of you for the most part, letting you rough up everybody on the Warriors roster, and most specifically number 30, who we got to talk about right now. Steph had 20 in this game. Not enough not enough, especially when you're missing Butler. And he also had 6 turnovers. Golden State live ball turnovers continue to be an issue during this series, and Curry is a big culprit of those live ball turnovers. I mean, and I understand he's getting hacked off of the ball, and he's really trying to quickly get into a position to get the ball and get a shot look or be able to dump it off to somebody else, but he's kind of getting sped up, and he's, I don't know, turning the ball over at too high of a rate for me, to be honest with you. He did drop 9 dimes tonight, but 6 turnovers is not a great ratio, to be quite honest. He has to take better care of the basketball, and I know I'm asking for improvements out of a top 5 player in the league, but he has to be better if Golden State wants to win this series. No doubt about it. And so does Draymond, who had 5 turnovers of his own and can't keep his cool and misses a free throw and then a layup opportunity to cut this game down to 10 or 9 points in the fourth quarter. And Golden State have a real shot to win this game. He killed all momentum, got a tech down the other way, and any momentum of a comeback in this game was over. It was done. Draymond just couldn't get out of his own head. And I'm not going to lie, the rebounding is an issue. When you let Şengün go for 16 boards tonight, and you're relied upon as one of Golden State's best big man option at 6'7". Yeah, I understand. You're playing small, but you got to play bigger. You've had a history in your career of playing bigger. I need more rebounds at Draymond Green. There's no question about it. Quickly to go through the rest of Golden State's roster here, people who contributed. Moses Moody actually showed up tonight. Was 3 of 6 from deep. Was good from the field and continues to play staunch defense on the Rockets guards. I think he did a good job and is staying locked in the series and gets more comfortable as the games go on. I like what I saw from Moody tonight. He actually got some offense from QP. He had 4 triples tonight. Just wasn't enough. And it's not great on the defensive end. He kind of gets worked by Şengün whenever they get one-on-one. The Rockets are hunting him in isolation with Jaylen Green, with anybody who kind of gets switched onto him. He was on Dylan Brooks a good bit tonight, and Brooks had his best game of the series so far. So QP, obviously we know he's not a disciplined defender at this point, but he gave you enough offensively for me to kind of have him in the semi-positives tonight. GP2 didn't do anything. Just kind of a non-factor out there for the most part, and especially on the offensive end. Plays good defense. He's available underneath the rim, and he just does his things. Some games are going to be better than others for GP2. Buddy Hield, though, he's a non-factor a lot of the times, and seems hesitant to shoot. He misses a lot of the open looks that he gets that I get really frustrated about. And if he's not hitting his open threes, he just shouldn't be out there on the floor, man. He just shouldn't be out there on the floor. Guy Santos gave you a little bit tonight. I actually like when Guy's on the floor, man. I feel like the Warriors play a little juiced up, and he has an infectious energy to him. So I liked what I saw from Guy, even though he's not going to fill the stat sheet up. Looney, he seems a bit slow. He just doesn't seem like a player that is capable of playing big minutes for Golden State at this point. And that's unfortunate because Golden State doesn't have a lot of depth behind Draymond. So, you're gonna see more Kevon Looney in this series. Hopefully, he's up to the challenge. Facilitated well tonight. He always plays within the flow of the offense really well. He's so accustomed to the system that he's never gonna be too bad in that regard. But as far as being a defender and a player around the rim, it's not great anymore for him. Want to go give a quick shout out before we get out of here to Pat Spencer. Pat Spencer, he had 11 points, and yes, he did get subbed in at the end of the game when Golden State waved the white flag. But 9 of these points were in the second quarter, and he was a spark plug for Golden State after Jimmy got hurt. And he kind of kept them in this game. They were down 16 at the half. They would have been down 25 if not for Pat Spencer. So shout out to him. But Golden State's going to need more, man. They do not have a lot of depth on this roster, and it clearly showed in Game 2 when their Robin went down. By the way, the Rockets, again, one more quick jab at them. They started acting real tough once Jimmy got out of the game. That's all I'm going to say. Who needs to step up for the Warriors the most out of the depth that they have on this roster? Let me know who you guys think that has to be down in the comments section. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We will be live on Saturday for Warriors-Rockets Game 3. So lock us in as your #1 spot for Warriors content on YouTube. We'll see you guys all in the next one. And as always, let's go Dubs.